Hello and welcome everyone. We appreciate you all for signing up and participating in our webinar today. I am Taylor Leitner and I am a research associate and program coordinator at QEM Network. And for our webinar today, we will feature a phenomenal panel of our current STEM grantees who will share their insights on the creative ways they are disseminating their research work. And we will have the space for them to ask questions and for you to ask all the amazing questions you might have for them. But in the meantime, throughout this webinar, feel free to use the chat feature to submit any questions you might have throughout this webinar. Just to go over some quick logistics before we start, we have enabled closed captioning for everyone if you would like to use that functionality. And the webinar is also being recorded in the video available on our website. The slides from the webinar today is also posted on the website and can be downloaded at www.stem.aas.org/webinar. And I believe it might be in the chat for you all to find the slides as well. Next slide.
Next slide, Hassan, please.
All right, so next we'll kick it off with an icebreaker activity. So we'd like for you to start using the chat feature, and we would like you all to share your name, institution, and a fascinating fact about your STEM project or any projects you are passionate about at this moment. Okay, we got Amy Owens, Silver Linux, okay, I said that right, consulting. You're evaluated for a project with a sleep researcher. That's really cool. I would need some analysis on my sleep. We have one of our amazing panelists from Ball State University. We'll hear more from her. Someone from San Diego. One thing that's really neat about our project is seeing where students find research opportunities. One undergrad spent the summer in France for chemistry, REU. That's amazing to have them experience that global perspectives as well, the research. Dan is currently planning to study academic burnout in the first cohort of scholars. That is really huge. Let's see. We have Florida A&M in the building. Well, really in the web space. Aaron, we have from University of Wisconsin. Despite the FAFSA fiasco, they have more Pell eligible applicants for their program this year than we have had last year. So that is really good because that has created a lot of barriers for people. So it's good to know that y'all are overcoming those barriers. We are in the second STEM grant and have provided scholarships to 116 students so far. That is amazing, Susan. All right, and I encourage you all to keep sharing those things. I'll keep going, but so everyone can see those in the room and you all can connect with these individuals moving forward. If you find something of interest, message them directly and say, hey, I'm interested in the work that you do. I'm doing something similar, and we want to start building those collaborations. We can go to the next slide. All right, so today we will go through a couple items, but for the most fantastic part is the panel discussion. I will start off with the STEM Rec overview and the webinar objectives that we'll discuss today. And then I will pass it on to our executive director, Dr. Mercy Mugo, who will moderate the panel discussion, facilitate a QA session, and provide any resources and upcoming events following this webinar. We'll go to the next slide. And this is the STEM Rec vision. So one of the goals of the STEM Rec Resource and Evaluation Center is to create a greater infrastructure, build community, coordinate work, and synthesize findings across over 600 funded STEM programs at different types of colleges and universities across the nation. In a nutshell, the REC supports potential and current STEM grant awardees and the STEM scholars, and it works to increase the overall effectiveness of the STEM portfolio. The REC promotes the exchange of ideas, resources, opportunities, and knowledge of the STEM portfolio. And this REC promotes the exchange of ideas, resources, opportunities, and knowledge about effective strategies and practices that you all can incorporate to increase the number of talented low-income students who can obtain STEM degrees and enter the STEM workforce. We welcome you today to visit our website once again and learn more and join our mailing list to stay up to date and informed about all of the work that we're doing. Next slide. The REC meets its goals by carrying out 5 essential activities, which include public-facing online presence, virtual communities for the STEM project leadership and scholars, and an in-person annual scholars meeting, a technical assistance suite for the STEM awardees, and STEM program impact and evaluation reports. This webinar is a part of the REC's information sharing and virtual community building activities. And you can follow us on all of these platforms as well, on LinkedIn, X, and Instagram. Slide. AAAS is the lead organization in this effort, and they have 4 partners who are leading key aspects of the different RECs work. For MN Associates, they're providing evaluation technical assistance to support the current and prospective STEM awardees. The American Institutes of Research is reviewing the impact of the STEM program at the national level, and Quality Education for Minorities Network is providing support and connections to institutions that are underrepresented in the STEM network. And the University of Washington Center of Evaluation and Research for STEM Equity is our external evaluator. And then we'll go to slide 7. And this gets to the point that we're all here today. So that today we're hoping that we're able to provide insights into effective dissemination strategies where you can share findings with a broader audience. So we're seeing who has done it, how great they've been doing it, and seeing what you all can implement, and also promote these innovative ways to magnify the work that you all are doing in your STEM grants. And lastly, we want to be able to facilitate a peer-to-peer exchange of best practices, strategies, and challenges in disseminating research findings effectively, which is why we're also incorporating the facts within the group chat, and so you can also build those connections. Next, I'll pass it on to Dr. Marcini.
Thank you, Taylor, and good afternoon, everyone. Today we bring a diverse group of experts to explore innovative ways of sharing and promoting their STEM outcomes. It's an honor to be able to introduce the panelists and also to moderate the discussion. Hassan, you can go to the next slide so you can see the panelists. So we were expecting 4 panelists. We are still waiting for the 4th one, but in the meantime, we'll introduce the ones that are here, and hopefully the 4th one will join us at some point. And if not, we'll see how we'll navigate that. First up, we have Dr. Ashley Batterson. Ashley is an associate professor of chemistry at Seton Hill University. She has 12 years of teaching experience at a liberal art institution. She obtained her Bachelor's of Science from Stonehill College and a PhD from the University of Connecticut. Her research interests include grain oxidation chemistry and active learning in organic chemistry. She's currently the PI on an STEM grant that is supporting biology, biochemistry, chemistry, and forensic science majors through a mentorship network and career exploration in STEM. She'll be sharing insights into how they are leveraging social media in their STEM project. Next, we have Dr. Catherine Hubbard, who is an academic advisor at Ball State University, where she earned a doctorate in adult, community, and higher education. She's primarily a qualitative researcher and uses photo voice methodology in many of her projects. She's tag teaming with her colleague, Dr. Sandeep Rayat, who received a PhD degree in chemistry from the University of Missouri, Columbia, and conducted postdoctoral work at the Ohio State University. She holds the rank of professor in the Department of Chemistry at Ball State University. She teaches courses and performs research in organic chemistry. In the past 3 years, Dr. Ayat also served as the BSU's inaugural faculty fellow for the undergraduate research, during which she had the opportunity to build and nurture the pan-campus teacher scholar program that engages undergraduate students in research. Currently, she serves as the PI of the STEM project. Catherine and Sadeep will share how they are using photo voice in their current STEM grant to strengthen cohort building. We were expecting Dr. Melanie Van Stry, who is a professor of biology and chair of the Division of Natural and Physical Sciences at Lynn College. She earned her Bachelor of Science degree in biochemistry from Boston College and a PhD in biochemistry from Boston University School of Medicine, and completed her postdoctoral training at St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. She joined Lynn College in 2011, and she continues her work to improve minority access to science through NSF-funded research project, her involvement in professional societies, and collaborative partnership. Melanie, if she joins us, she'll be talking about how she's using some of the traditional methods like journal articles and conference proceedings in disseminating her work, and how she's also leveraging her STEM scholars who are in the project to further promote her STEM findings. If she doesn't join us, we have her slides, so you can always review them and see some of the amazing work that she's doing. At this point, we'll start with Ashley. Ashley, please introduce your STEM project and share how you've leveraged social media and digital platforms to enhance the visibility and impact of your STEM project. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this invitation to share about the STEM program at Seton Hill University. Our STEM program supports biology, biochemistry, chemistry, and forensic science majors. And the main components of the program are based on mentorship and career growth goals through a supportive community and establishing a sense of belonging for the scholars. So just a little background about Seton Hill. It is a small liberal arts institution outside of the Pittsburgh area. We have a total of about 1,600 undergraduate students. The School of the Natural and Health Sciences is the largest school at the university. Our STEM program supports 5 scholars each year. So this talk is kind of from a perspective of a small STEM program. We currently have our first cohort of 5 scholars this year, so we are still in the beginning stages of the program. And I will touch on the three of the major aspects of the program, including recruitment outreach activities, a career exploration seminar, and then probably the most significant portion, which is the mentor program with the incorporation of a social media component. And so first I'll talk about our recruitment efforts. So our plan is visiting Pittsburgh area high schools. Many of the high schools closest to the city have high minority enrollments and a significant number of students from low income households. And so our goal is to hold outreach events at Seton Hill and at Pittsburgh area high schools to recruit scholars. During the outreach events, we discuss, science majors at Seton Hill, STEM careers, promote the STEM scholarship, while also engaging students in hands-on experiments. And we try to bring along a current Seton Hill student to talk about their journey and their STEM career aspirations. For the on-campus visits, we also had a question and answer panel with a number of Seton Hill students from a variety of science majors. And the high school students really seemed to enjoy this setup where they were open to ask questions to other students. Sometimes asking questions to a professor is a little more intimidating. So the panel worked out well for high school students to actually ask questions to the majors. We have visited 4 high schools, and 1 high school came to Seton Hill. We visited specific science classes and planned activities somewhat related to topics that the students were learning about. So some examples, we went to an anatomy class and led the high school students in an activity to engineer a method for clearing a clogged artery using Play-Doh and tubing, and giving them tools to get the Play-Doh out of the tubing. We visited a biology class and led an activity to identify a mystery phase using sequence data and free online bioinformatic tools. We went to a free period where all science classes were invited, and we presented an activity related to polymers and osmosis using water beads to make stress balls. And then the on-campus visit at Seton Hill, we did a variety of different activities, synthesis of esters, DNA, blood testing, UV vis. Also in our recruitment, marketing and admissions are heavily involved in the efforts. The marketing team created a flyer with information about the program and eligibility, and also set up a website for the application process. The admissions team reached out to possible students through emails and texts, encouraging them to apply for the Scholars Program. And our current 5 scholars actually did not attend any of the high school outreach activities. They learned about the program through their admissions counselor. So that was really our tool for recruiting students into the program. Recently, we have been having difficulties getting responses from high schools to see if they would be willing to let us visit. And so we found that you really need a connection with a high school teacher or guidance counselor in order to really get into those high schools. And so now what we're trying to use is our college and high school program contacts to see if they would be willing to let us visit their classes. All right, next slide, please. The second aspect I want to talk about is the career exploration seminar. And since this is our first year with the STEM program, we really haven't established the seminar yet. We plan to gradually start this next year, as our first cohort will begin their second year. And this seminar will increase scholars' awareness about opportunities during their undergraduate studies and about possible career pathways after graduation. Exploration will include shadowing and discussions with upper level, STEM majors that are already conducting research, attending presentations from STEM faculty about their research projects that they're doing on campus, attending panel discussions with alumni and scientists in the STEM industry, and tours of some local industries. Within the seminar, students will also be provided with guidance for finding and applying for internships and research experiences. And they'll also be encouraged to attend conferences related to their major. In addition to this seminar, the scholars will establish an individual development plan. So we've already introduced this to our scholars, given them some examples of individual development plans, templates, and they are currently thinking about and creating a plan. And we want the students to really reflect on their unique skills, their short-term and long-term goals and action steps to achieve those goals. And then as their mentors and being able to see their individual plans, we can customize how we can help and shape the seminar to address their specific goals. Next slide, please. And then the most important, I think, component of the program is the mentorship for the scholars. And so we plan to retain students by increasing their sense of belonging in their major, feeling comfortable and, welcome. So initially we initiated both group-based mentorship and one-on-one mentorship activities at the beginning of the fall 2023 semester. And so the group-based mentorship was established immediately for each scholar, consisting of both a faculty mentor and a peer mentor. The faculty mentors are the 3 PIs for the project, and the peer mentors were sophomores and juniors majoring in biochemistry, biology, or forensic science. And the scholars were paired with a faculty mentor and peer mentor based on their chosen majors. So during the first week of classes, an STEM program orientation was held for the scholars to meet their mentors and learn about the program goals. At this orientation, everyone received a Setonian STEM Scholars Program t-shirt, and we tie-dyed the t-shirts together to promote cohort relationships, provide a sense of belonging and pride in the program. So you can see our picture of our tie-dyed t-shirts there. During the orientation, scholars also completed initial surveys related to social connectedness, science motivation, and science identity, which we will then give the same survey at the end of the year and see how it has changed. After the orientation, the scholars attended a bi-weekly meeting in a cycle of the faculty mentor mentee one-on-one interactions, then a faculty peer mentor and mentee, followed by a gathering of all faculty mentors, peer mentors, and mentees together. And so these meetups provided an exclusive and inclusive environment for sharing experiences, struggles, goals, as well as providing support and direction. You know, the one-on-one faculty mentor-mentee meetings focused on the individual mentee with discussions about their specific aspirations and goals, and immediate concerns or struggles, were addressed with them. The faculty mentors were able to track the scholars' academic progress using Starfish, which is an early alert system used by the university. And if any scholar received an alert, the faculty mentor quickly addressed the concerns and give them advice or referrals to appropriate existing supports here. The full group meetups during the semester introduced the scholars to academic support programs at Seton Hill, and also provided an opportunity to learn about other scholars, their peer mentors, and faculty mentors, while taking part in a fun activity. So some examples included, we had the Academic Achievement Center present on studying in the sciences using the Pomodoro effect, talked about the services the center provides, brought the students to the center so they would know how to get there. And then following the presentation, the scholars and peer mentors created their own double-sided whiteboard to further support their studies and time management. So another team building kind of activity so that the scholars and peer mentors could get to know one another. We also had the counseling center present during a full group meetup, and they discussed the imposter syndrome and reviewed the services the center provides, which was then followed up by a group activity of making stress balls using the water beads and balloons. And so these full group meetups provided a way to ensure our students understand how they can be academically, mentally, and emotionally supported across campus, while also increasing group engagement and community building through the fun activities and formal and informal discussions. Next slide, please. So in addition to these actual meetups, we also built a connection through the group through Instagram. So a group Instagram page was established in the fall as a way to keep the cohort and mentors in touch with one another and learn about each other outside of the bi-weekly meetings. And so we right now are using the Instagram page to spotlight scholars and peer mentors, which includes like a short bio, their favorite part about the STEM program, and then answers to this or that questions like, do you prefer Chipotle or Chick-fil-A? So it's just a fun way to get to know one another. And so you can see an example of one of our scholars who was spotlighted on Instagram. And so we've done all of our scholars and peer mentors. And so we're also using Instagram to share info about upcoming seminars or meetings, to the group, and then also to show the Seton Hill community and beyond what we are doing as a group and highlighting our activities or exciting things our scholars are partaking in. And so the exciting thing about using Instagram is that you have a really broad audience. So there are a number of students who shared the group with their families. And so we have parents who are also like following the page and liking the posts. The whole Seton Hill community can see what we are doing. You know, we've also posted other things. We posted a video on Instagram of the selection of scholars to attend the STEM conference next fall. And so you can see there a video of us selecting names out of a hat because all of our scholars were interested in going to the STEM conference. And so other ways we're also going to be using social media. We're in the early stages of creating a TikTok video to share with high schools to promote and recruit for the STEM program. So since we have been having difficulties getting into the high schools, we thought that maybe if we have a TikTok video, a quick TikTok video to let them know about the program, the requirements, give them the link, we might be able to reach them better through social media instead of going into the high schools, but sharing a video. And so that's kind of a quick summary of our STEM project and where we are at. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashley, for your insights and also for sharing how you're utilizing the digital platform. Next, we'll hear from Sandeep and Kadri. We'll start with Sandeep, who will introduce their STEM project, and then Kadri will talk about how they're utilizing the photo voice.
Sorry, you guys couldn't hear me. I was just talking. Okay, first I want to thank you, the QEM network, for the opportunity to talk about our STEM program today. So in the next couple of minutes, I will quickly introduce our STEM, and if you want to know any details on the programming, I'll be happy to address that during Q&A. So we have just launched our program last year at Ball State. We call it as I Ascend. Next slide, please. These are all the people on the team. Kathy and I are here. Next slide. So Ball State is located in Muncie, Indiana. It's about 65 miles northeast of Indianapolis. It's a 4-year public university, and you can, if you can see the star on the northeast side of Indianapolis, that's where Muncie is. Next. This is a picture of our beautiful foundational sciences building, which opened in fall 2021, and that is home to the chemistry and biology departments that are the 2 departments that our STEM targets. This is a little bit information about how our student population looks like. So we will recruit 2 cohorts of 16 scholars, 8 and 8 in the 2 years in chemistry and biology, and support them with scholarships for up to 4 years. Next. Yes, so this is these are the demographics of our first cohort that began in fall 2023. We have total 9 scholars, 4 in chemistry and 5 in biology. About 22% of our students are from the underrepresented groups, and about 11% are first generation. Next, please. This is the chart that shows the structure of our program. We have a wrap-around system of support that targets scholars' academic preparation, professional development, personal growth, and wellness. That includes bridge program, first-year seminars, undergraduate research, faculty and peer mentoring, study tables, living learning communities, career exploration, interactive seminars with top Indiana employers, support for transfer to graduate school and workforce, and many workshops and seminars targeting their personal growth and awareness. Next, please. We are addressing cohort building in several ways. First, we placed scholars in the same section of their STEM courses, especially in the first year. We worked with housing and residence life to place scholars either as roommates or on the same floor of the residence hall. We have study tables built in our program. It is a place where scholars come and study together. In the fall, scholars collectively logged 150 hours of studying together during this time. We have social activities, which are listed over here. Lunches, movie nights. In fact, we are having a movie night next week. And then one unique aspect of our program is photo voice. And we are using photo voice to study if that builds stronger cohorts. And that's what Kathy is going to talk to you about.
Thank you, Sandeep. So a little bit of background about photo voice. Traditionally, it's about evaluation and change. So the methodology developed by Carolyn Wang and Marianne Burris in the 90s helps us understand lived experiences. So the participants use both photo representations and a narrated response to prompts developed in collaboration with both the researcher and the participants. So instead of the photos being interpreted by the viewer and getting something maybe a little bit skewed, the meanings are articulated by the participant. So the photos facilitate a greater understanding of the meanings and the participant, and offers the participants an opportunity to reflect more deeply on the ideas and experiences that they want to share. So next slide. So for our iAscend program, we wanted a new way of understanding the student experience and see if the photo voice can be used for cohort building. So the students participated in photo voice during the bridge program and then each regular semester. So the photo voice has two aspects. One is the creation of the photo voice itself, and then the other is sharing during the presentation. So those are two opportunities to see if they help with the cohort building. And then following each semester, the questions that we ask are adjusted to meet both the program needs as well as student needs, and we'll see that a little bit further. So next slide. The first set of questions were during the bridge program, and which is right before the regular fall semester. And they centered around their self-image, how they see themselves in the future, and what challenges they might anticipate as they move along in their academics. So the responses to the question are on this slide. The question is, I don't know if you can see it, who do I want to be in 4 years? And so you can kind of get themes out of their responses. And so the themes out of these, as you can see, are growth, continued education, and focus and prioritize on goals. So you can get kind of a thematic idea going. So next slide. These were during the first semester, and we asked several questions to do with the program. And this question was, what was my most impactful experience? And these centered around themes of friendships, workshops, and adapting to college life, okay? And so the next slide, we asked, what was the least impactful experience? So we could learn from that. And what's interesting is that while the theme was definitely study tables as the least impactful experience, but if that's where it stopped, then we would get a misunderstanding, because it wasn't that the study tables weren't impactful, but the times didn't work for the students. So then we can use that information to adjust times for the following semester, okay? So the next slide, we had an expectation that the students would engage more during the presentation. And so we would see evidence of cohort building. But what we found instead was they didn't engage during the presentation, but afterwards, because what we did was we allowed the students to present their own photos and narration. So it was a group meeting that we had. But their conversation became so lively when they remembered an event that meant something to them, and that was a barbecue at one of the faculty's homes prior to the Bridge program, but they weren't sure that they could use that as an impactful experience because they weren't sure if that was an actual event or what, but we discovered. So with that, they also talked about what questions they want to answer this semester. And so these are the questions that we designed for this semester, and they have options. So the first question option is something they learned about someone else in the program that was positive, or something they associate with the ISN program. And then the second option is what event made them feel like they belonged at Ball State, or what was the most valuable ISN event this semester. And then they wanted to answer just a fun question. What did you do for fun? So they'll get to be creative with these questions this semester, and we'll have that presentation in the next couple of weeks. Okay, next slide. This is an example of how you can present this to the outside at a conference, at a meeting. So this was from a partnership that I had with women in a poverty alleviation program. And it was presented during their annual fundraiser meeting, so decision makers could have a better understanding of not only who the women were, but what their version of success was that might be different from those in a different socioeconomic standing. And so I just want to show this kind of as one example of presenting information so that the audience could understand it. And then the next slide, the final slide, this is our first cohort in the program that just started this year. So anything else, if you have questions, we're happy to answer those during the Q&A. So I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Sandeep and Catherine. And I want to acknowledge, I see the question from Corina on the chat. We will address that at the end. At this point, I want to invite Melanie to share about ways in which she's disseminating her research findings. Melanie?
Hello. So I'm Melanie Van Stry at Lane College, and I am the Division Chair of Natural and Physical Sciences. So I'm going to talk about our dissemination of our STEM grant outcomes. So we can go to the next slide. So the Lane College STEM program actually started in 2019. We are in a no-cost extension this year, so we are wrapping up our project. Like all the STEM grants, we provide scholarships to academically talented low-income students. Lane College is a HBCU in Jackson, Tennessee. We have about 800 students, and the grant supports students from biology, chemistry, computer science, mathematics, and physics. We currently have 5 STEM scholars, and most of them are graduating this year. That's from our second cohort. And we do have a little bit of money left, so we will be adding a third cohort of seniors for our last year. Our grant covers basically 2 things. So we have curriculum improvements. So we have created first-year student seminars, especially important for our physics majors because they don't take their college physics courses right away because they have to get caught up on their math first. And so we created physics seminar course. That is a 1-credit course that is called Galileo in the Church. And it's a role-playing kind of game course where they learn about about Galileo's research and the Inquisition and how that went. So it is team taught with religion. So we thought that would be a really nice thing for our students to look at science from different perspectives. We also created a course for chemistry. It is called Critical Thinking and Scientific Literacy and Problem Solving. And so that's another course where they do a lot of games and activities to work on solving problems and thinking about learning about different ways of approaching problems. We also have implemented course-based undergraduate research experiences across the curriculum. So in biology, in general biology, and in chemistry, and also in computer science. Our students have regular cohort meetings, and they also work together on group projects. We have mentoring and individual development plans. And then we are also involved doing a research project looking at the impact of this psychosocial factors on the STEM persistence for our students using student surveys and focus groups. So next slide. So our students are involved in a lot of course-based undergraduate research experiences and also summer internships. And so we have been disseminating results from their research in multiple ways. So discipline-specific conferences, those are some of the ones that are listed here that our students have presented at, and also publications and conference proceedings and in peer-reviewed journals. Next slide. So our faculty are also disseminating our project outcomes. We have conference proceedings. So these are some examples of places where people can disseminate their work. We haven't presented at AAC and U STEM conference, but I have seen a lot of STEM projects presented there. We have presented our work at the ASCB, American Society for Cell Biology, and also ASBMB in their education sessions. And then we've also presented at the STEM PI conference. And then other publications that people might consider looking at discipline-specific peer-reviewed journals. So we have published other work, not our STEM work yet, but we're working on this. But we've published other work in these journals. So BAM-Ed, Journal Microbiology Education, CB Life Sciences, and there's another journal called Understanding Interventions, which is more focused on underrepresented students. So you might consider looking there. They're actually very nice to help with getting your paper in a format that's, can be published. So they don't really, they basically help you through the peer review process to have a really strong manuscript. Also consider book chapters. So I know that QEM is working on one right now on a book. And with our other NSF grant, we were able to publish a book chapter, and that was very helpful for us to disseminate our findings from that work. So I would like to thank our co-PI, Candace Carter, and Consuela Davis, and Dr. Liang, who have helped me with a lot of the work on the grant. And then our former faculty, Dr. Elijah McCarthy, who is now at Oak Ridge National Labs, he helped us a lot with getting the project started. And Dr. McCarthy, Peter McCarthy, who was one of our original co-PIs, who is now retired, and Dr. DePass, who is our external evaluator.
Right. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
to our panelists for all your insights and contribution. At this point, I want to open the floor for any questions people may have, but we can start with the question that was posted in the chat by Corina. Thanks, Corina. And the question was to Dr. Ayat. What is your project's balance between for-credit and non-credit programming? Can you speak the challenges of not being able to require participation of scholarship recipients?
Hi, Corina. Thank you for this question. It's an excellent question. Okay, so there is only one thing on the in the programming which is credit based, which is the first year seminar, and it's built in scholars degree plan. Rest everything is not required. And so it is a challenge to get scholars to participate in these. They faculty mentoring in our program is very structured, so they are pretty good in meeting with their faculty mentor, because we had them work on a mentor-mentee agreement and in the beginning of the fall semester, and many of them stick to that. They contact their mentor bi-weekly or monthly, whatever they decided. So that's going pretty well. All other activities and events, as you know, we can't require them in this solicitation that we applied for and were awarded. So they're not required, and in the fall semester we had less participation. We are doing better this semester, and we have had pretty good attendance in the two workshops we have done so far. We told students that, look, your participation is important. You got scholarships, and we need data to show NSF how our project is doing, and that's only possible if you participate in this. So we can do focus groups and surveys, and that report to NSF afterwards. And so this semester it's not been too bad, I would say. But that's an excellent question. I really wish there were a couple of things we could require. But yeah.
Thank you, Sandeep. Please feel free to come out of chat if you have any questions, or please submit them on the chat. I'll pause for a second and see if anybody want to ask a question. All right, one of the questions I had was, how can you leverage partnerships, whether it's with other institutions of learning or with industry, to amplify the reach and application of your STEM project findings? In one of the panelists, feel free to come up and answer that question if you've leveraged partnerships.
So we've been able to leverage our partnerships with the Science Consortium of Minority Schools, which is led by Meharry Medical College in Nashville. So they have a STEM conference in the fall in Nashville, and we've been able to present our findings there, have our students talk about their work as well. And actually, one of our STEM scholars was on a panel last fall and talked about her lived experience as a chemistry student, as a single mother, and a student athlete. And that was actually really powerful.
Thank you, Melanie.
Sure.
No one else? All right, I see a comment on the chat by Dr. Owen. Yes, a future webinar on best practices to encourage high participation rates in non-credit activities might be a great topic. I agree, and that's something we'll explore. Actually, one of the things we'll be asking you to do in the post-work webinar service to suggest future webinar topics. So I have made a note on that as, you know, possibility for a future webinar. Any other questions before we transition into the next section? Okay, there's a comment. Let me see, Jennifer. It's great to hear about the ways you're getting information out through professional organizations, publications. I'm curious on what others are doing to present their campus administrators. Do you have any strategies? What has been the impact? Have you been able to present those findings to your leadership, administrators?
So I can answer this. So at Seton Hill, we have a faculty scholarship night, which is hosted actually by our provost. So I was able to put together a poster of what we've been doing with the STEM program. And so I presented it not only to the provost, she was there, but then also other faculty members were also there. And I presented what we've been doing at that faculty scholarship night.
Thank you, Ashton. Anyone else doing something similar with the administrators or different?
I can also answer this question. This semester we had a provost summit on campus. It was virtual, and there were many different sessions for that, and we presented STEM in that. Because there were many different rooms, so our provost was not present in that room, but we hope that they were informed of the progress and what we have been doing. And I regularly, at least once a semester, keep in touch with the STEM administrator on the grant, and of course she's the one I call when I run into issues and I need to get things done. But we also have one-on-one meeting once a semester to talk about how our project is going.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. There's one more question, and that is, how are we sustaining beyond the funding period? So how do you make sure that probably you continue either institutionalize some of those elements that you found to have worked, or continue mentoring the students beyond the funding period?
So we have been able to institutionalize some of what we are doing through changes in our general core curriculum. So we now have a career pathways course that our students take as freshmen. And we are able to implement some of our goal setting and individual development plans that we have done with the STEM scholars across the campus to all students in that course. And as far as maintaining the mentoring, I mean, that's just something that I guess that we would do anyway. So we just want to make sure that our students are all having an advisor, and then we have sessions for everybody to help them to apply for internships, and encouraging all of our students to do that.
Thank you so much. That sounds awesome. All right, next slide, please. At this point, we just want to take like a minute or two to post this poll where you indicate which avenues either you're planning to use, are using, or have utilized to share your STEM project findings to the broader audience. Have about 30 seconds. Thank you for those who are submitting. If you think about any avenues that you're using to submit, disseminate your work, please let us know. Jamila, do you want to let us know some of the things that emerged?
Sure. So we have some great responses here. One of them talks about having an article published in their campus newspaper. We have some other publications as well as conference posters. Planning to do some publications in STEM education journals, attending conferences, website articles, a little bit of a discussion of white papers, as well as virtual meetings and alumni newsletters.
That sounds awesome that there are so many platforms and avenues that people are using to share about their STEM work. And I just saw a comment on this chat from Jennifer who said they just made a commercial using their scholar's voice and it turned out to be great. Awesome. If you don't mind, you can share the link to the commercial so we can all see. Thank you. Thanks everyone, and especially for the panelists for sharing your insights and with us and sharing some of the strategies we are using to promote and disseminate your STEM work. Next slide, please. All right, we wanted to share a few resources that are relevant to the STEM community. Please check out some of the products that are on the AAAS website. We have a report and we have a blog post series on STEM students and their sense of belonging. We also thrilled to announce an upcoming series on our blog and are currently accepting proposals. The theme of this series is capacity building and holistic STEM scholar engagement. We are seeking contributors to support the blog as either auditors, editors, or others. This is an excellent opportunity for you to share your knowledge, connect with our audience, as well as be part of a collaborative and creative STEM community. If you are interested, please submit your proposal by May 15th, and we'll put the link on the chat as well. And as an incentive, if you serve as an author, you'll receive 1 year of membership with AAAS. Next slide, please. We have our next faculty-centered coffee and conversation on April 25th between 2 and 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We encourage you to join that conversation where STEM, funded project peers will have a safe space to discuss some of the common challenges they face when implementing their STEM project, as well as brainstorm solutions to overcome those challenges. You can register via the link or the QR code that is provided on this flyer. Next slide, please. Again, we also want to remind you of this year's upcoming STEM PI and Scholars meeting. The PI and Scholars meeting are being combined together this year. So this is a great opportunity to interact with peers and scholars and, with each other. This will happen in November, between November 8th and 10th in Chicago. So please be on the lookout for the registration information that will be coming out soon. And I'm hoping to see most of you there. Next slide, please. And finally, we want to remind you to please take a few minutes to click on the link or the QR code provided to take a quick survey or a short survey that will provide us with feedback to help us enhance future webinars. You can also suggest topics that you'd like to see featured in future webinars. So we really do greatly appreciate your feedback and insights on any topics for future webinars. Next slide, please. Thank you all for joining us. Stay connected with us. These are some of the ways you can stay connected through our social media sites, as well as, you can check some of the resources that we have, like I mentioned before, in our website. And we just are greatly appreciative of you taking the time today to be with us. Thank you again and have a great rest of the day.